during my conversations today with folks that I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to talk with and be a part, we're a part of each other's lives. And it is this notion. So there's this Buddhist idea that I heard a long time ago, and I think it's really cool. It's the idea that attachment leads to suffering. And for me, I like to use the metaphor of what happens when you're water skiing and you fall off the skis and you don't let go of the rope. It's not fun. It really sucks a lot. And the idea being, so that's literally, it's very lame, but metaphorically, it's this notion that staying connected to something, especially something that's out of your control, generally has bad consequences. And so, like the idea of being attached to happiness is going to lead to suffering because happiness isn't something that you can control. And so, one of the things that I hear a lot about, and I've heard a lot about in the context of what we're going through right now, is people trying to stay positive or being positive or hanging on to being positive or hanging on to the idea that things are going to get better. Well, that's the motorboat, right? And you're hanging on to it is the rope that's attaching you to these things that may or may not happen. But I can tell you something, regardless of how you guys perceive what I'm doing right now, I am not staying positive. That is not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm being in the moment. I'm controlling the things that I can control. I'm making choices linked to what I can make choices about. I'm choosing to spend my time doing this right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm not being positive. I'm not staying positive. I'm not staying hopeful. Because not that hope and positivity aren't good things. It's not what I'm saying. It's that they're completely outside of my control because I can be all positive and everything. And then, I don't know, the freaking weed whacker stops working or something like that. Out of my control, that sucks. And then it becomes a thing that I have to deal with. But again, with everything else, when I'm in that moment of the weed whacker not working, my only focus is going to be on the weed whacker because that's the thing that's in front of me. Doing the next right thing is going to be that. Keeping it simple is paying attention to what's actually going on one way or the other with the weed whacker. And this is, it's interesting that I just randomly bring up the weed whacker. But literally, there are certain things I know about that weed whacker in terms of getting it to start again. And if I'm all caught up in coulda, shoulda, wouldas or trying to be positive or trying to stay happy, I'm not going to be paying attention to those things, which means that I'm probably not going to get the weed whacker started again because I'm literally not in the space where I have access to all that knowledge that I have. And this is how this applies to everything. This applies to whatever struggle it is we happen to be facing, whatever challenges is in front of us. If we're with that challenge, and if that's what we're focused on, everything that we know and can attend and can attribute and can deal with, everything that we've learned up to that point that we can use to address that challenge, we're going to have access to. If I'm thinking about, oh my God, it sucks so bad, this is going on right now, I'm not in that space and I don't have access to all that. So ultimately, this thing that sucks so bad is just going to suck bad longer. And it's so you can apply this. I apply this to everything. In my life, that ultimately when the more I can fully be in the moment that I'm in, the more access I have to the resources that I already have, that I can use to answer and address the thing that I'm trying to deal with right now. And so therefore these notions of positivity and hopefulness and all these things can really just be distractions that keep me from actually being able to walk through the thing that I'm dealing with that's right in front of me in the most effective way, which ultimately might make me happy if I walk through that thing that I'm trying to deal with in the most effective way. And then I'm happy. So that's cool, but not because I was hanging on to it, because I was manifesting that. It became manifest, but that was not what I was looking for. I did not go, oh, you know what I can do? If I only focus on the moment right now, then I can manifest happiness by paying attention to the weed whacker. I mean, that's way too complicated for me in the first place. But the most important thing is simply the fact that I am in the moment that I'm in. This is the stuff I say all the time. In the moment that I'm in and using the resources I have access to in order to deal with situations that I have to deal with. But the big kahuna here is this notion of moving away from these notions of staying positive, looking at other people and saying, oh my God, they're so staying positive. How can't I? Because ultimately all that stuff for me is a complete setup. Because if I were in this place of my primary mission right now is to stay positive, and something were to happen that would pull me away from that because of the reality of what's actually going on in my life in that moment, then that would be a failure, right? That's the last thing I need is a failure. It's an invitation to failure. For me, it's a setup for failure. So move away from that idea. Let positivity do whatever it's going to do. Let happiness be wherever it's going to be. I'm going to be in the moment that I'm in, dealing with the thing that I'm going to deal with, making the choices that I can in the moment that I'm in, because that's what I can do. And then there you are. here you are. And the breathing, once again, that breathing thing for me, especially if it's a really, really difficult situation, that breathing thing is going to be essential for me in terms of coming back to that moment that I'm in. So I breathe in, and then there I am, and here I'm back, and then I have access to whatever resources I had in that moment to deal with whatever it is I can deal with in that moment, and then boom. So something to think about for today, that that attachment leads to suffering. You just think about, if you've ever been water skiing, there's probably other metaphors, but that's my favorite one because I've done that. I don't know what it is about, like when you're behind the ski boat, you fall off the skis, the idea that somehow hanging onto that rope is going to fix things. Always wrong, always wrong. Unless you're like not only good enough to do it barefoot, but going fast enough, in which case hanging onto the rope is an even worse idea. But it's very seductive, and it kind of metaphorically is probably really important to why we continue to do it. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not like all this positive, happy thing has just vanished in my life. This is about my intention to get to a place where, instead of being caught up in these ideas and set up to feel like I failed, and to be more in this place of I'm in the moment where I'm in, I'm dealing with the things I can deal with. These are my intentions in the place that I'm working to get to. And I hope you are too. And I hope you're having a great day, even though it's really hot up here in northern Maine. Although I'm in the basement, it feels great down here. Hope you're having a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Once again, what's next with Dr. Joel? I'm Dr. Joel.